Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. We're here much sooner than one expected. When India went out to bat, they were hungry for runs. Clearly, when they went to bowl, they were hungry for food because they hurried things up because they wanted to go have dinner. But everyone's happy because Joyda and Harsha have also had their dinner. So everyone's stomach is full. We are very happy with the cricket India has played. A 3-0 win. How good was that? Comprehensive.
The voice of an empty stomach.
She's the only one who hasn't eaten.
That's what a host has to go through.
Correct.
You know, we have to be there ready for you all, but India was totally...
Enjoy it while you're young. Enjoy it while you're young. Now, very disappointing from England. Right? I mean, India was just in a different league. The moment the ball stops, turns, it's a different game. They were 60 after 6 overs.
Yes. But do you think it was very good bowling, or do you think they were shots which were unnecessary considering it was a 50-over match and they've gotten out?
I think it's a combination of circumstances. Definitely some really loose batting up front, especially a couple of set batsmen. Salt will be cursing himself. So will Duckett. You know, both of them, you know, went for that slower ball and just didn't control it, and you knew that was coming. But the rest of the batters, nobody got settled. And I think the biggest thing about that innings is nobody got even into their 40s. I mean, all of them had enough time to get set. You know, if you see a T20 match and nobody gets into their 40s, you can understand it, you know, because it's a shorter format. But in a format where you have enough time, you have players of the quality of Joe Root, Josh Butler, all in that middle order, Harry Brooks, so highly rated. None of them sat there and decided to, you know, shepherd the match through. I mean, had England lost this match 270, 280, 290 for 7 or whatever, I can understand it that they've at least taken the game forward. This was really disappointing.
Sometimes the bad shot or the seemingly unnecessary shot is the outcome of a very good ball. So, for example, the ball that Arshdeep bowled to Salt makes Salt's shot look, what on earth was he on about? It dropped almost in front of him. It was an extraordinary slow bouncer. I mean, so by the time it eventually reached Salt, there was absolutely nothing on the ball, and that produced the catch over there. So it was actually done in by the slowness of the ball. So if you actually run through all the wickets that fell, the 3 played-ons. Root played on, Butler played on, and Brook played on. Brook, I think we've now got to get over saying, oh, what a great talent. Because you're great talent when you score runs in all conditions.
Yes.
He scored a lot of runs in Pakistan. But the moment the track started to slow down and turn in the last 2 tests, when Sajid Khan, Noman Ali took 39 out of 40, he looked like a fish out of water. Came to India, the moment the ball is turning, looks a fish out of water. So I think the time has come to say Harry Brook is a very good player in certain conditions, and I'm afraid has a big learning curve in certain other conditions.
Well, I just want to remind all those who don't know what happened today because it got over so quickly. India came in, batted, they put on 356 runs, the second highest score in Ahmedabad, and then it was all wrapped up very quickly because England got all out in 34.2 overs with the bowling, everyone chipping in from Aksar, Harshit Rana, Arshdeep, and well, it was all in all a happy day. We could see a very happy Rohit Sharma, which is why we were talking about the way England batted, because yes, we bowled very well. So we'll get to our bowling, starting with Arshdeep, comes into the game. We spoke about him, whether he'll get a game, not get a game, didn't get the last 2 games, comes in very confident. And he was bowling to a plan because we could see him and Rohit Sharma smile and talk to each other, and then he got a wicket. So he was clearly bowling to a plan that Rohit Sharma had set for him.
No, absolutely. But when he started off, he bowled a really good first over, you know, just by giving one that big leg by, you know, which went off the pads. And then they got after him a bit. And that's the point at which you thought that, you know, they've counter-attacked and counter-attacked successfully. And under those conditions, to get 2 peaches of slow balls, because I think even Duckett's wicket was even more important, you know, just got him to mistime it, and Duckett was just standing in his crease, standing and delivering in his crease. And see, one of the things that happens is if you stand and deliver in your crease, if it's a slow ball, he couldn't reach the ball also. Had he reached it, so he just stretched forward a bit and he just got it under and went straight up. So I think that was what you saw, a smart, mature bowler realizing that this guy doesn't have too much footwork at this point in time. A slow ball here might have an impact. So I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He was bang on. He's exactly what India needed. And also it's exactly what India needed under the circumstances. Hasn't played 2 matches. He's been in form. He hasn't played 2 matches. It's just nice to see him in form before we go in.
But also, Harsha, you think Arshdeep knew the pitch and it was slowing up? He used that very intelligently?
And that's the big advantage of playing at home. Maybe it helped India that we hardly saw any dew. There was a little bit towards the end, but England didn't bat long enough to take advantage of the dew. They had to take the game into the 50th over and win it in the last 10. But they just didn't bat long enough. Taking pace off is something every Indian fast bowler has to learn. You see, Harshit Rana did that well. Arshdeep did that well. Hardik Pandya did it well. All Indian fast bowlers have to do it. The master is not playing. The master of that slow ball deception is Jasprit Bumrah. So all Indian fast bowlers have to learn that, and they realize very quickly as soon as the ball starts to grip. And I think they might have seen that with the 10th over, which you enjoyed so much.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's a bullseye.
Can we have a big hand for her?
Bullseye. It's my first prediction gone right. And a bullseye, so I have to do the Shubman salute. Thank you for reminding me.
Well done. Sorry, I've got to move away to say why for cricketing reasons that was important.
No, but how impressive was Akshar in that over and how economical he's been. We've seen him with the bat, but today he comes out with the ball and he's been so good with the ball today.
Maybe he showed that is possible, especially initially Arshdeep with the slower balls and then that maiden over from Akshar. I think that told you that, look, this is possible. And yet I thought at the 15 over mark, England were not in a bad position. 1 wicket too many is what they had lost. But we showed you the mini card a little while ago. See what happens when a batter is set. When one batter is set, one Indian batter made it 100, one made it a 70, one made it a 50. Highest score is 38. If you're a set batter, then you've got to go on and make it big and leave 6 and 7 not to build an innings but to finish an innings. That didn't happen at any time on this tour for England. And I thought you saw why their recent record in ODI cricket is ordinary.
But you spoke about that over from Akshar. It was between the 9th to 15th over. There were only 3 boundaries conceded.
Yes.
So they were choking the England batters. And then, of course, Kuldeep came on and Harsha Bhogle said he has to perform. So he got that 1 wicket. But he bowled way better than just that 1 wicket because he was squaring batters up and he looked very good today.
No, he looked absolutely brilliant. But again, that opportunity was set up by Arshdeep by getting wickets up front, because the moment you have exposed batters who are not used to the conditions, again they got themselves a start. They got themselves those 60 runs. But after that, the opportunity that Kuldeep had to absolutely choke them in the middle, he took full advantage of it. Remember, India's bowling was on the back foot to start off with. We had to throw the ball to Akshar in the 5th over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you are in a situation where, you're getting hammered. Harshit Rana got hammered in his first spell, in his first 2 overs.
Yes.
So you're talking about a recovery from that stage. And if you look at it, this tells you a story. The run rate basically came right down after we took this wicket. The first wicket that we took, after that the run rate precipitously dropped.
There's one player, we talked about Kuldeep. It was very important, we said, for Kuldeep to bowl well. I'm just checking exactly where Kuldeep started. By the way, on the Cricbuzz app, the overs thing is one of my favorite places to go to because it tells me the story. Now, Kuldeep comes on to bowl in the 14th over. First over 3, second over 6, next over 3, next over 4. So he's considered less than 20 in 4 overs. At that crucial phase, he played a big part in strangling that innings and closing it. On that surface, 4.5 runs and over, 8 overs and a wicket was exactly what India would have wanted. I'd liked him to have taken 2 or 3 wickets, but I think he showed enough evidence that he's ready to play at this level again.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to go back to that chart again because just look at the innings progression for these two and it tells you a story. I mean, look at it. At the 10 over mark, we are 32 runs behind them. We are 32 runs behind them. But 5.2, 7.7, 6.7, that ability to score 7.7 and 6.7 between 11 to 30, that is the crucial difference because the Shreyas Iyers of this world, Kohli was batting at that point of time, their ability to keep cruising at 6.5. What's happening with England? They have got good starts. This is the third time they got a good start. They got a 60-run first wicket partnership, which was really fast. And then they just don't have the wherewithal to continue. And nobody expects you to go at 8.4 and over for the next 10.
Yes.
But you should be going at about 5.5, 6. After all, you haven't lost that many wickets. And they've plummeted to 4, 4.1, 4.2. And that stage, no matter what happens after that, the rest of the batters are under so much pressure that it's then very difficult from them to win the match from the 30th over.
There's too many overs after the power play in ODI cricket. You can max the power play, but you can lose it afterwards. There's too many overs after the power play. I also wonder, looking at how India bowled, whether there was a lack of skill in the way England are bowling. On subcontinent pitches, you come and learn on subcontinent pitches to quickly take the pace off, because the ball comes so beautifully onto the bat. Very, very good batting conditions. I don't know if the likes of Atkinson and Saqib Mahmood and the others, they've not played enough. And let's be fair to them. They've not played enough, but have they quickly, this is the third game. In the third game, you start to see if they've learned anything from game 1 or game 2. I didn't see that in the way they were coming. And then the other thing, I mean, Root bowling 11 and 13, Wood not bowling in over. Those are things that happen. But I think there was a skill difference.
England will definitely be very disappointed from the T20s and into the ODIs. The bowling has really let them down. But coming back to our bowling, do you think Washington Sundar will be disappointed? Because when you're given opportunities as a young player, you want to grab it with both hands.
He got a peach of a wicket. The last stumping that he got was beautifully executed. I think just getting the batter down and just firing it down the leg stump. He and KL Rahul did some incredible stuff. So I think Washington Sundar has justified whatever he could do. You've put him in the 5th over in the firing line in a match where the batsmen are going hell for leather. And he still managed to hold his end up. I don't think he did a terrible job of it. So I think under the circumstances, it was a trial baptism by fire. But I think he came out well. And I think whenever Washington Sundar has got chances for India, he's proved that he's worthy of playing at that top level. It's just that India at this point in time, at least on paper, at least on the kind of performances we give, are probably the best ODI team in the world by a fair margin. So to get into that side is a difficult thing. He's not disappointed when he's got it.
There's that amazing stat that was sent to us earlier today. Since 2011, we're talking 15 years, it's a long period. India have won 31 out of 35 group stage matches in all ODI events. And that's an extraordinary record.
Yes.
In T20 cricket, actually in all World Cup cricket, India only lost that one final on the 19th of November. Unbeaten in T20 and unbeaten here. India have been a powerhouse in one-day cricket now, but now I think they're starting to distance themselves from everyone else. At this stage, India look overwhelming favourites for the Champions Trophy. What happens eventually, it's a game. What happens on the field is a game. You can have a bad day, but at this stage, they're just playing at a different level.
Well, talking about powerhouse, there was this one knock by a powerhouse performer today who drove India to victory, Shubman Gill. He is a Kia Ceros performer of the day. Kia, movement that inspires. Shubman Gill got 112 in 102 balls. A beautiful knock, innovative, bold and stylish. Those are the words that come to mind when you talk about Shubman's knock today.
If that car can be as good as the way Shubman batted, it must be a really good car. Because today Shubman did everything right. All those words that you talked about, because with Shubman there's never a shortage of style and class and elegance. We saw the power as well today when he was coming down and hitting those big sixes. Biggest plus for me in this series is Shubman Gill. He's had his struggles in T20, he's had his struggles in Test match cricket. There was some talk, should we pick Shubman Gill in ODI cricket? I said, hang on. Don't we look at numbers? The numbers over the last 15, 20 games saying that Shubman should be among the earliest people picked in your ODI team. So that to me was a huge plus. One innings from Rohit, one innings from Virat will add. But today, yes, Shubman Gill, for all the words that you used about the Ceros, yes.
But Joyda, his love affair with Ahmedabad, doesn't he love playing on this ground? But just looking into the future, this is the perfect setup, getting into the Champions Trophy and looking at Shubman Gill's form.
Absolutely. And also what's boding well for you is that Shubman, when he plays well, I mean, his tendency to get out when he's not playing well is he hits early and he hits it to mid-off or mid-on. And the way he was controlling his shot, number one. Number two, the way he was going down the pitch to the spinners. He looked so confident when he was jumping out, and that's not his natural game, but he's so confident now jumping out that he's just looking at the top of his game, and somewhere he seemed to have matured, and that's what adversity does to you. It makes you more mature, it makes you a more resilient cricketer. I think he's at his top of his form now.
There's also great skill in knowing today's my day. And if you say today's my day, I won't make a pretty 40. I won't make a pretty 60. Today is my day. Yes. I'll play the innings that will change the game. That is what good players do. Batting conditions were easy for Shubman Gill today. The conditions were his friend. But having recognized that, you then go and produce a big 100. That is that is a sign of a very, very good player.
Well, the batting conditions for him were easy, but he makes it look so stylish, which is why Shubman Gill was our Kia Ceros Performer of the Day, Kia movement that inspires. Something that was not so stylish today was the England batting card, because there was some, like we said, they opened 60 for no loss. The openers gave them the start that they got. We'll have a look at that batting card, because after that, absolutely no partnerships. The highest run getter there is all of 38.
Yeah, big thing. 160 run partnership. I think there was one between Root and Benton. There was 146, 47, 48 run partnership. No other partnership crossed 40. And you know what's the most damning stat out here? If you look at it, the most damning stat out here is all your top 6 batters got a start. So when you get a start in these conditions, you've played out those, they've all played 20, 21, 22 balls. You played enough balls, you know what the pitch is all about. You've got yourself a start. Now for all 6 of them to throw it away,
yes.
For 1 or 2 of them to get out, it's okay. For all 6 of them after that not to cross 50 is a crime. I mean, it tells you that whatever it is, they're not taking advantage. Okay, 1 batter has got out, it's okay. Let me be more careful. I've got to last out. I've got to play at least get 50, 60. I've got to play till the 35th over. And somehow that was just lacking. Perhaps they're so used to being a bang, bang, bang side that maturity to understand these are not the conditions to do it. Or I've got a good enough start. I can afford not to for a while and really consolidate. They did neither.
I can understand Duckett. I think Duckett was inconvenienced.
Yeah.
Look at Tom Banton there. Right? 38 of 41. He's starting to hit the ball well. 38 of 41 is what you convert into 120 of 100.
Exactly.
That's the point Joy is making. So 38 of 41, has he told you he's good enough to bat number 3 in the Champions Trophy? I don't think he has. And I think one of England's issues is that their greatest ever white ball batter, which is Jos Buttler, is a little lost. He's not had a great run in ODI cricket recently. So Jos Buttler must bat where he is most likely to score runs, not adjust for someone else to score runs and come down at number 6. So to my money, where is Jos Buttler most likely to score runs? Up in the top 3. Because he's by some distance their best white ball player. So why is he down at 6 to accommodate a Banton and a Brook? A Banton and a Brook don't fit on the same graph as Buttler just yet. They might, but they don't just now. So Buttler has to bat where it's best for him and England and let the others adjust around him. That is my reading. I mean, I don't know whether he's happy batting at 6 in a finisher's role, but sometimes I think the captain thinks too much about the other 10 and not about the 11th.
Because a 142 run margin is a huge margin.
Colossal.
And you want a Root and a Buttler who have the experience to take it upon their shoulders. But like you said, he's coming down too late.
Yeah, and you've got, I mean, of your 3 matches, 2 were blowouts.
Yes.
And it wasn't that the third was particularly close, but 2 were absolute blowouts. So you're dealing with a situation where your batters are just not doing, play at least the batters who you have who are capable in the right positions. And I totally agree with Harsha. I mean, a batter of his capability. Why has India done so well in ODI cricket in the last 7, 8, 10 years? Because what we've done is, whether it was Dhawan, Rohit, Kohli, you always had your top 3 one or 2 of your top 3 would get along. Then your middle order would give it a push. Your 4, somebody like a Shreyas will give it a push. And then towards the end, you have some hitters like Hardik, Jadeja who can finish it. It's a formula.
Yes.
But it's a formula that's worked very, very successfully. Now, what that formula depends on is having your best batters, your most capable batters in the top 3. And I think there England is missing a trick, as Harsha says.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to know from the England camp what Buttler thinks about where he needs to bat. But my logic tells me, whatever little I know from watching from afar, that Buttler is at his best batting at 3-4. The 2 best batters are Buttler and Root.
Yes.
And ODI is the best time to bat is up front. Saurav Ganguly always used to say, he used to smile and it's the best place to bat is open. So, Buttler should be up there.
As a fan, I want to understand this. As a fan, we keep listening to the words intent and aggression. We saw that intent and aggression with the England openers in all the 3 ODIs. But is it that what Zach was talking about as well, that step forward, are they being over-aggressive and is this brand of cricket hurting them a lot?
I think a defensive shot is a very high intent shot too.
Yes.
Because intensity is how badly you want to do something. You can defend really high intensity so that you are around when the bad ball comes to hit. I think England are going too hard on aggression. When they were playing that way under Owen Morgan, They had Jason Roy at the peak height of his form. They had Bairstow at the height of his form, Butler at the height of his form, and Joe Root. So that was a group of people playing at a completely different level. I don't think they have the people to play at that level. I don't think they have the skill to be able to go hard over 50 overs in these conditions just yet. That's my reading from afar.
Also, I have one more thing to say. You know what Harsha was exactly talking about, what Virat Kohli did, and even Shreyas Iyer to a certain extent, is the fact that somebody like a Tom Banton comes in. If you see the way he scored, he hits one, gives 4 dot balls, then one fantastic reverse sweep goes for a 6, and everyone's saying, "Wow, what a batter!" And then you'll realize that he hasn't. None of the middle order batters of the England team, other than Joe Root, have rotated the strike. They don't rotate the strike. They're all looking for the big hit. They're mishitting, not getting the big hit, waiting for the big hit. But the point of it is, in conditions like this, if you're not getting that big hit, stay busy. Keep changing ends. Keep the bowler guessing who's going to come into bat. That's something that India does almost automatically. And because we do it so well now, the Virats of the world do it so well, that we don't even consider it a skill.
Yes.
But it is a huge skill. Being able to rotate the strike, stay busy, keep those 1s and 2s going so that even you hit 3 4s but you're 52 balls. That's what India does so well nowadays. It has been doing well for a while.
Kevin Peterson came hard on commentary on golf, man. And Kevin Peterson loves playing golf. But every time I hear talk around the England team, it is about playing golf. But you're cricketers. And I think he made a very valid point. If you're struggling in these conditions, go and bat for 2 hours in the nets. Try and get used to the conditions. The greatest of players have one thing in common. 2 things in common. The greatest players have a great defense. The greatest players have a great work ethic, and they're very hard on themselves. You don't take his name, but he worked very hard in practice all the time.
He worked very hard, the master, when he was 42 and 40 years old as well. But that's why they become
He's practicing
the
already.
masters.
He's practicing already to play the
practicing for
Legends.
his Legends game.
Can you imagine?
And serious amount of practice.
He said the other day at the BCCI Awards, he said he just looked at his bat and said, "Wow, man." He said, "You're my friend because you generate the best music that I've heard." And the advice he gave to the younger people there was, he said, "Without a bat and a ball, we are nothing." So respect the bat and the ball because without that, you're nothing. I think sometimes we need to go back to slightly uncle values.
I know why I love it. Every time Harsha's on the show, he makes sure he talks about the great master. And then that brings a big smile on my face.
Because my anchor has got to look good, no? If you look happy.
No, you know how to make
You're
me
hungry
happy.
anchor.
The hungry anchor, yes.
You're hungry anchor. But someone who's not going to be happy is Livingston. We spoke about him highly in the pre-match show. We spoke about how he was batting well. But today in that shot he played, he stepped out and he just never felt like coming back. He didn't even attempt to come back.
I think that's the point, that, he's just not at this point. Brook, Livingston, all of them have got some runs in county cricket. They've looked good, and in smaller leagues around the world, they've scored fast. In top conditions against top sides like India, they just, at this point in time, they just don't look good enough. And that's something that they have to deal with. Livingston is a very talented cricketer. But firstly, he must understand that if you have got to play in the subcontinent, especially ODIs, you can't smash every ball for 6 on the leg side. You've got to find something else to do. You can't charge every time. Rotate the strike. If you rotate, if you move the field around, if you manipulate the field, you'll get more opportunities. There's a lot of... The thing about ODI cricket is because there's more time, there are more nuances to it. You can't just play one way. And I think both Livingston and Brooks are showing us that they don't have that versatility as yet.
Sometimes it's good to look in the mirror, talk to yourself and say, am I good enough? And listen to the voice inside you, because the voice inside you never learns to lie.
Yeah.
Just say, am I good enough? What do I need to do? Clearly, I've got the ability, but if I'm not producing runs, there's some other shortcoming somewhere. So.
But what do you think the conversation is going to be in the team? What is Butler going to say? Because now the truth is, this is what they've got for the Champions Trophy. This is the squad they've got. So they have to make the best with this squad.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep experimenting? Is it going to be a little more going back to the normal ODI ways of playing cricket? Like the last match, Zach said, I was so happy with the way they batted because they played traditional cricket and they were not going out to play silly shots. So what is the conversation in the team?
I think the conversation will be, look what Rohit Sharma did when he got in. When he got in, he got 100. What did Shubman Gill do? When he got in, he got 100. So, Phil Salt, Ben Duckett, Joe Root, when we are in, we get 100. And unless we get 100, unless one person gets 100, You're not getting 300 plus. I mean, you could have a lot of people scoring 60s, 50s. That's actually not a bad result. But if you're in on these pitches, I mean, I don't know what Karachi or Rawalpindi is a beautiful track to bat on. I'm sure the pitches in Pakistan will be very good to bat on because they want to make a spectacle out of the Champions Trophy. They're not going to produce 220, 230 pitches. So when you're in, make it big. Then let the Livingstons and the others come and play a 30, 40 ball innings. But if you're in the top 4, your job is to make it big and ensure that your team is getting to 300.
Well, the batters will be happy for sure. Brook loves playing in Pakistan as well. He loves
playing in Pakistan on flat decks.
On flat decks. But this is something which I want to understand, Joy, is, are the England bowlers, one, they don't have that left armour which they've always had. They're missing that. And two is, do you think they're so used to playing and practicing in conditions in England that when the bowlers come here, they're a little at sea?
Look, the Gus Atkinson and all obviously haven't got used to bowling the subcontinent. Harsha said a very fair point. I mean, just look at the bowling. And I can understand Mark Wood not doing it because he's really an express bowler. He has a particular... And Mark Wood is effective at what he does. If you're bowling at the pace Atkinson is, you need a really good slower ball. You need more variety. And I just didn't see that many slower balls. See the number of slower balls even a Harshit used. And Harshit is a newbie in international cricket, okay? Or an Arshdeep, who has a lovely slow ball, got 2 wickets of slow ball. See how many slow balls they used. Did they use it effectively? So there's a lot of things. It seems to me that when you give Shakib Mohammed the ball, up front when it swings, he looks good for that first 2-3 overs when the ball is swinging. The moment the ball loses swing, all of them look very average. And the cross seam is not working for Atkinson.
I don't know what the issue with Sam Curran is. I don't know what the issue there is. But he's the perfect player in this team to bat at number 7.
Yes.
Because he can bat
and bowl.
And change of pace. He's very good at change of pace. I don't know what the issue there with him is, whether he's been made to stand in a corner for something or whether they think he's not good enough. I don't know. But you would have thought that number 7, they tried making Jamie Overton that bowler. I don't think he has the skills to be able to do that over 50 overs. But I think Sam Curran is the player for that spell. So the moment I noticed that Jacob Bethel was going, I thought here's an opportunity to get Sam Curran back. But they've got a keeper batter.
Yes.
Which means they're putting more load on their own bowling. At least with Bethel, they could have got 3 or 4 overs from him. But again, Bethel, Atkinson, Saqib, they're all very inexperienced players. So there's a big learning curve for them.
So the pressure is all going to be on Archer then because he will be spearheading the tournament.
Archer and Wood. Archer, Wood and Adil Rashid, they have 3 top quality bowlers. Where they get their remaining 20 overs for is the issue. And I don't think, even seeing today, I don't think England has the luxury of being able to play a 5th bowler. They will have to play that 4th bowler and get something out of between Livingston and Joe Root. They'll have to get their 5th over and it got massacred today. But it still doesn't look so bad because Atkinson got hit for even more runs than them. So then you look at that.
But it's just that Livingston as your second spinner is a little undercooked for a team.
No, he's a slow bowler.
Yes.
Notice he said slow bowler, not spinner.
Yeah.
No, I think in T20 cricket, where you come in and slip an over here, slip a couple of overs there, the ball is gripping, he's absolutely fine. I don't think he's a 4 overs bowler. He's definitely not an 8 overs bowler. So if you're a bowler short, someone's just limped off with an injury, he comes in and bowls a little bit. But I don't think you can build your team around Livingston bowling 7-8 overs every game.
Well, England are not going to be happy with the way they have performed with the bat and the ball in this series. But Rohit Sharma is going to be a very happy man. He's gotten back into form with that 100 in the last match. And as the captain, we saw him smiling all across. He had something to say in the post-match. We'll have a look at what Rohit Sharma had to say. I don't see there was anything wrong. We did this series. It is our job as well to keep some consistency within the squad, and the communication is clear. Obviously, a champion team wants to get better every game and move forward from there.
I know what he's talking about.
The shuffling around is...
Clearly, the shuffling around he's talking about, that means he's saying that no matter what we shuffled around in front of you, whether Jaiswal had to play or Shreyas came in or whatever, I think what he wanted to say was the communication within the team was clear, this is what we want to do. And I think the second message he's giving is any team which is going into a big tournament and has a chance to check out 2-3 players like a Harshit Rana, seeing players in different positions or a Varun Chakravarti, they have the right to do it and they need to do it before this big tournament. I think those are the 2 messages he's sending. And I think Rohit is very smart about these things. India is one. He knows that this is going to be a friendly press conference. This is a good time to say this is actually what we were. If we were experimenting, everyone in the team knew exactly what we were trying to do. I think that's what he's trying to tell us.
Well, as a fan, it makes you feel good because you want that communication to go across.
If you look at how many players are happier at the end of a series than they were before, I think Mark Wood is happier at the end. Adil Rashid is happier. To some extent, Phil Salt is. In India, Shreyas Iyer is much happier than when the series started. Harshit Rana is happier. Kuldeep Yadav is happier. Akshar Patel is happier. And we're not even talking about Kohli getting a half century, Rohit getting 100, Shubman Gill getting, because you expected that of them. But more players are happier at the end of a series, more certain of where they stand at the end of a series. And I think that credit must go to the captain.
Well, when it all works out well, it looks very good. So we're all very happy as Indian fans. We have wrapped this series 3-0. But now the train moves to the big ICC tournament, the Champions Trophy that starts on the 19th of Feb. So I would like to spend the next 2 hours, if I could, discussing each team in detail. But they have left me hungry today. So we will quickly have a look at the two groups. We'll look at Group A and Group B. Group A, of course, New Zealand, Bangladesh, Pakistan and India. Let's quickly have a little discussion. India has been spoken about, so I will want to start with Pakistan, if we can. Playing in Pakistan, defending champions, so they have that pressure, but they also have the pressure of Rizwan captaining. There is no Siam Ayub, so there is all this also happening in the Pakistan squad.
What's there? Harsha will tell you much more, but Harris Shroff's fitness also is one thing. The other thing is for all the other teams to look at what kind of conditions they are for playing. Just remember that Pakistan has picked just one spinner.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering what that tells us. It would be lovely to look at the squad and see, take a look at that. Look, what one genuine spinner in that lineup. And then you have, others, will just give you bits and pieces. Salman Agha will give you bits and pieces. So it's an interesting squad. Again, no place for a couple of, really, really big performers.
They've gone back to a few players who are a bit of this and a bit of that, but haven't really proved themselves at that level. Khushdil Shah, he can go in T20 and play the big shots. Fahim Ashraf looks very good on paper. He's that number 7, trying to be what Hardik Pandya is for India. But he hasn't got the numbers to show that he can do it at that level. So I think Pakistan are playing themselves into a situation like England, where their 4 lead bowlers, not one of them can afford to have a bad day. Now today, again, I don't know what the conditions are. Let's see where that game was. That game was in Karachi, and they've conceded 352 to South Africa, was still not at full strength.
Yes.
So the bowlers going into the tournament are thinking, oh, hang on, we're getting routinely plundered for 330, 340. So who's going to stop that? Their success, whenever they've done well, has been built around Amir taking wickets at the top. After Amir went away, Shaheen Afridi taking wickets at the top and Haris Rauf taking wickets in the middle. They're a fast bowling dominated side. If the bowling is not delivering, then they're going to be in trouble. They desperately need to win this game. At the moment, they are 173, they're chasing 352, but they need to win this game because otherwise they're going into their own Champions Trophy on the back of not qualifying for the final of their own tri-series. And I don't think it helps when leaders of the country say, you must win this.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that game on the 19th, New Zealand versus Pakistan, is going to be such a high pressure game for Pakistan. I don't know how good they are under pressure. They desperately need to win that game.
Talking about under pressure, Rizwan as captain, is that a good choice? And also Babar Azam's form a concern?
Babar Azam's form has been a concern for quite a while now. He's been getting... if you look at the record, he's been getting runs. It's not that he's been getting not been getting runs. But if you look at it among the top batters in terms of runs in this format over the last 4 years, he's among the top 5. But he hasn't got that many centuries. That means somewhere he's not converted, not done daddy hundreds. He's not finished games for them. And that's something that they expect of somebody who is regarded at one time as one of the top 3-4 young batters in the world. I think there's a gap there, and this is probably the tournament. This is his best chance to redeem that, to turn around and tell everyone, hey, look, this is a home tournament. This is an ICC top tournament, and I've been a dominant batter here. So Babar Azam big. Obviously, the bowling, Naseem Shah, Shaheen Shah Afridi, because if they don't get wickets up front, this is not a Pakistan side that does very well. They need wickets up front, and those are the two who will give it for them up front.
And that has been the problem with them. They haven't been doing that, which has been, well, their forte, but they haven't been doing it.
They desperately need wickets at the top. They're a very fast bowling driven side. They desperately need wickets. Whenever India have been in trouble against Pakistan, it's because you've been 20-30 for 3.
Correct.
But the ball's been swinging and you've taken wickets up front. So I'm a little worried about Pakistan. I don't think there's a shortage of skill, but I'd like to see how they handle the pressure of their own audiences, expecting them to do well at home. And to bring home, look, the Champions Trophy is not the greatest tournament in the world. The World Cup is. But for Pakistan to host a Champions Trophy, given all that's happened, is a big deal for them. It's such a big deal that if they don't do well there, it'll just cast a pall of gloom. So I'd like to see how they play under that pressure.
Well, they will be playing New Zealand on that first game, which is going to be a high-intensity, high-pressure game. We'll have a look at New Zealand's squad and see what they have for the Champions Trophy. Kane Williamson has looked good. He's come in with good form. It looks like a very good team. Devon Conway got that 97 right now. So their batting has come into form. The bowling, do you all feel, is led by Matt Henry, and then there is Santner, who in those conditions could be quite a handful.
Look, my sense is New Zealand is doing what they do very well. At any time, they are a squad that overmatches. That means the sum of the parts is greater than the parts themselves because they're a very united side, so they'll overperform. But if you look at the squad, just look at the number of all-rounder options they have. Spin bowling all-rounders. You've got 2 of the top spin bowling. You've got Santner out there. You have Glenn Phillips out there. You have Rachin Ravindra out there.
Michael Bracewell.
Michael Bracewell. You have 4 guys who can turn the ball and whack the ball out of the ground, okay? You've got Kane Williamson, who's like one of the classiest ODI batsmen ever. You've got Tom Latham, who's done really well in recent times, who might even not get a chance to play, given that Conway is also in the side. So this is a very, very good side, especially if you look at the bowling out there. They are the kind of people who'll bat till 8-9, and they will have 7 bowlers as well. And that's a huge difference between them and, say, an England or a Pakistan. Now, how well they do under these conditions, I feel they have a formidable enough squad because they've got Lockie Ferguson. Out and out pace works under any conditions. It doesn't matter because you're beating the batters in the air. You're not trying to get it off the pitch. So Lockie will do well. Okay, he has that raw pace. You've got some really good spinners out there. You have Santner, who's the kind of spinner who can even bowl in the power play. Okay, he's a very, very clever bowler, very much in the Daniel Vetri mold in terms of thinking out batters. This is not a great side, but it's a complete side. And it's got lots of options.
The only issue is, much like India and Bumrah, there's a question mark over Lockie Ferguson.
Yes.
Because he went off in the SA20 game with the last ball of the innings to be bowled when he walked off with a hamstring. So they're really sweating on Lockie because he'd started to bowl really well again. So if Lockie is available to them, it changes their side completely because otherwise they've got to get a Will O'Rourke, a Ben Sears, big tearaway fast bowlers, but not quite Lockie Ferguson's level. The other big plus for them is Conway scoring runs again. He's such a big part of their team. Conway scoring runs again.
Well, I'm a big fan of Conway and also a big fan of Rachin Ravindra. I hope he looks like he's fit to come back.
And I desperately hope it wasn't the lights that blinded him. Because there's going to be a lot of balls coming at that height. So I hope it wasn't the lights. I don't know.
Apparently, they're saying that the lights were wrongly adjusted and they've readjusted them.
I hope so.
That's the story that's come out of there. So let's see where it goes.
But Conway came in for Rachin Ravindra and he came in great form. But both of them are 2 people that New Zealand will want all through the tournament.
And Glenn Phillips is in form. He's just been fantastic. So you have lots of firepower in the middle order as well. You have firepower in the middle order. You have that one classy Kane Williamson kind of bat who will bat at 3 or 4. And the team will rotate around him. If he gets going, look, this is... I think they're favourites, even though Pakistan are home ground. I think they're favourites going into the 19th.
Well, Bangladesh next up, a team that has had a lot of years of experience. Do you think they have it in them to upset someone this championship?
I think their best player is not available to them anymore. He's not been the same player for a couple of years, but Shakib was by some distance their best player. So there's no Shakib. They've got to come make peace with that. And they've got to find the youngsters. The Tanzids, the Tawheed Ridois, all these guys to come and produce the big score. They've gone back to someone they've tried 4 or 5 times before in Sharma Sharkar, who's a good player, but hasn't quite delivered that much. Then they've got to get all the Mushfiqur Rahims, and Shanto was left out of the Fortune Barishal side in the BPL. So I don't know what state of mind he is in. It's a decent bowling side, and there's one player in that side who's just taken giant strides ahead, and that is Mehdi Hasan Miraj.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's taken giant strides ahead. But see, back to Mahmudullah, back to Sharma Sharka. They're good players, but back to them, back to people who've played and not won trophies. So I wonder if they're going in thinking, you know what, Afghanistan made the semi-finals of the last ICC tournament, why can't we?
Yes.
So I hope they're thinking that way, but it's a very tough group for them.
Rashad Hussain did very well.
Yeah, look,
Can we expect
Rishad
him
Hussain
to-
has done well. Taurid Ridwai, every once in a while flares up.
Yes.
They're missing Shakib, that's a big miss. The other big miss is Litton.
Litton does.
Because Litton was really explosive up front for them. And he going is a huge
But he was dropped on form.
He's dropped on form.
Yeah,
He hasn't been
but
in
that's
great form.
No, but that's my point. That him not being there, as in not having the ability to play, is a huge issue for them. Because that means the top order, Shanto, the thing against him is they felt that he could never, up the pace in a T20 game. He was the batter who was designated to bat at 3 and, play the ball round. But, is he... Now, if he's not sure of what he's doing, he's also the captain of the team. And it's never good to have a captain who's not, who's not in his head 100% certain.
Because I think he'd said he didn't want to be captain anymore. And then he's been asked to be captain again. And there's always a bit of turbulence around Bangladesh cricket.
That is the understatement of the century.
But it's just that it's a short tournament, and if they could upset someone one game, it could change things around. So it's just about if Bangladesh can upset someone. That we'll wait and watch. Let's quickly have a look at the second group, Group B, and we'll have a look at Australia to start with, because there's so much to discuss about the team, considering half their team's not even there.
6 holes to be filled in that Australian team. Cummins, Stark, Hazelwood. I saw some incredible stats. It's the first time since 2011 that at least one of them isn't playing. For the last 8 years, every single tournament has had the quartet of those 3 and Zampa. So those are 3 giant holes to fill. I think Stoinis is a hole. I want to know why Stoinis on the
That's
eve
a
of...
strange story, yeah.
Why is
Considering he was called in the 15th squad, and then he just...
What's seen with Stoinis? I don't know. Mitch Marsh is a loss because he can turn games around when he's in form and give you a few overs. And these are the players who are in the 15 who are not available anymore. Who is the replacement for David Warner? We're talking about one of the great white ball players. So there's a lot of players in there who are good big bash players. You're talking about people like Josh Inglis, Aaron Hardy, Matt Short, Sean Abbott, Ben Dwarshuis, Spencer Johnson, players like those. But how are they going to play at that top level is something to be seen. Australia will always play hard, and so you never write off Australia, but this team has a lot of climbing to do.
And Steve Smith captaining once again. So he'll have a lot. He doesn't know who he can play around with. So he has to figure with this squad of which 11 he's going to get.
I think he should bat 3. Just go and dominate the game.
Look, they still have Travis Head who will probably, get them... The batting still, they've got some firepower in
You've
the batting
seen Jake
still.
Fraser-McGurk and what he can do.
I think it's a bowling that looks extremely, extremely inexperienced. And if you look at, I was just looking at the number of internationals played. You've got Steve Smith playing a whole lot, Glenn Maxwell playing a whole lot. And after that, it just falls away hugely.
And again, the spin department, that one lead spinner with Zampa, and then, of course, Maxwell will roll his arm.
Maxwell bowls short bowls and head bowls. Aaron Hardy bowls. So, and these are all top 6, 7 players. So there's no shortage of bowling options. The question is, how good are those options on flat decks?
But they also lost to Sri Lanka today.
Yeah.
And it was quite something.
Quite a one-sided
one-sided because they had to chase down 220 and they couldn't quite manage it. Not what they wanted getting into the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, correct. Given the other side is not even playing the tournament.
Not even playing
The
the
tracks
tournament.
will be different.
Yeah.
And finally, Charita Asalanka gets runs. Sri Lanka have been losing far too many good players, and Asalanka was one of them. But they're not playing it, so
Let's then quickly have a look at South Africa and see what they've got in the squad going for South Africa. Harsha, the middle order is doing really well. The form that David Miller is in, the Henrik Klaasen is in. With the bowling, they are going to miss Koitse and Nokia.
Look, there's 8 batters there, of whom you can pick any 6 that you want. Bavuma, Klaasen, Miller, Stubbs, Rassi, Tony Dozorsi, Rickleton and Markram. You can pick any 6 out of those. It won't affect your side very much. That's how good they've been. Mulder is this good all-rounder, but I don't know if they can play Mulder and Jansen both. Unless one of them can bat at 6, because I don't know if he's going to give them 10 consistently. Corbin Bosch is very inexperienced, so a lot will depend on Carrizo Rabada. I mean, Lungi and Giri looked very promising when he started, but he's unfit. His economy rates are always high. I hope he's coming in full fitness because they desperately need him to play. I foresee them going back to Shamsi and Maharaj as 2 of their 5 bowlers. But this is a side where the batting is top draw.
Yes.
I don't know if the bowling is as reliable.
They have been doing well in ICC tournaments, but will this be the one where they convert it?
Look, I still consider them. They're the dark horse for me. After India, they look to be the most complete side to me, and the reason for that is that they have the experience. If Markram can give them some overs in the middle, he can bat as well. Markram, Jansen, you have 2 solid all-rounders. They have Keshav Maharaj simply as a bowler, but I think he can bat a little bit better than it seems to show there. They've got Rabada, who's a top quality fast bowler, of course, and Giri has not been in form. And they have the likes of, Klaasen is probably the best player of spin in white ball conditions that you have. Maybe not the best player of spin in ODI conditions, but he's a marvellous white ball player of spin. So I think they've got a really talented side. They've got some fantastic batters. If the bowlers click, I think they're the danger side for me.
My favourite player, Temba Bavuma, scored runs again today. I'm watching Temba Bavuma play.
There's that one uppercut that he's hit about 5 feet in the air.
Temba Bavuma.
That's the picture of the year for me.
But Ryan Rickelton has been in form. I saw Rassi van der Dusen bat a bit in the SA20 and he looked in very good form. Tristan Stubbs is one of my young players to watch out for. So that batting side...
Power-packed, yes.
There's 2 very unlucky players in that side. 6 of those 8 only can play. And Klaasen and Miller don't bat higher than 5 or 6 most times. So that is where I think someone like a Stubbs might miss out. I like Ryan Rickelton very much. He's a good player. So I don't think they're missing Quinton de Kock.
Let's move to Afghanistan now. It's one team, one story that I love talking about. I have really supported them in the last World Cup as well. We saw what they did in the World Cup. They should have qualified, but then Glenn Maxwell came and did what he did.
I hope they take that back. They take revenge for that one.
Yes. But the team in its whole, considering the pitches, if it's a 270, 280, you think Afghanistan have a chance. But if it becomes a high-scoring game, do you think that's where they suffer?
I think they do. I think still now they chase that 260, 270. Till then they can chase. Before that, they couldn't chase that as well. I think in the last World Cup, they showed they could do that. And I think they're a solider batting side than they have. But are they the kind of guys who can bat at 6.5 and over throughout to reach 300, 320s? They're still not looking that to me. And Ghaznfar going out, I think, is a bit of a loss. But I mean, would you think he would have played him?
I think so. But it's not such a big concern because they can play Noor Ahmed there.
Correct.
Mohammad Nabi will play for the next 25 years. So Rashid Nabi, and he's not yet a passenger in the side. He's still delivering. Yeah. So Rashid Nabi Noor, they've got their spinners in there.
Omarzai.
Azmatullah Omarzai can take the new ball, bat in the top 5 or 6. In recent times, in franchise tournaments, Gulbuddin Naib has played very well. I was very impressed with Ibrahim Zadran when I first saw him. He's coming out of injury. And their key players at 3 and 4, very good ODI players, are Hashmatullah Shahidi and Rahmat Shah.
Correct.
So those are the batters who are giving them, will give them the body, the substance. I also I've not seen him play. But every time I look at the scorecard, he's got runs. And that is young Sadiqullah Atal.
Okay.
Which is a name that will be very popular in India because of his last name. So I think there's batting, but I agree with you. I don't know if they can play 300 plus games consistently.
Well, they beat South Africa in the ODI series, so they're coming in with that confidence as well. Considering South Africa is a very good team that they beat, so they are coming in with that confidence.
Yeah, I think their confidence and people like Rashid Khan and all, they're in that stage of their careers where they'll enjoy being giant killers in tournaments, bring it down. Because so far, even now, the pressure is not on them. If they lose, they lose. But if they win, it's a big thing. But I think this is a team that still definitely has the potential to make a semi-final.
My gut feel is they're a good bat first side, and then with their spinners just control, just spin a web and try and trap someone. Shahidi
had a really good World Cup. Rahmat Shah had a really good World Cup as well. So they have that batting prowess.
Then Omarzai and Gulbuddin Naib with Nabi and Rashid to follow. So I think they've got a lot of bases covered. It's just a question of whether they can win 320, 330. If they can, wow.
Well, Omarzai was the ODI Cricketer of the Year. So all that is happening as
You
well
just
for
got to
them.
take it. But hardly anyone played ODI.
Yes.
The ODI team of the year had players
Yeah.
from 3 or 4 countries, but he's a very fine prospect.
Let's quickly have a look at England's squad. I know there's been a lot of discussion, but I want to have that look at the squad again to see what can change around, considering they've just lost 3-0 to India. We'll quickly go over this, Joyda. What do you
Long
think the
answer,
11
what
is
can
going to
change?
be?
The long answer, nothing. No, not for any other reason, but this is the side that they have out
Yes.
here. The question is whether they'll have the courage to play 5 bowlers and say that, let me take wickets, my batters will be good enough, or they turn around and go back to playing that 7. In which case, as you said, something like a Livingston Root will have to share those 5 overs. So I think that's a question that we'll keep coming back to. And there's nobody there in the rest of the reserves that I see who, really is going to make a significant difference. Because once Bethel is gone out, their options about that spin all-rounder is not there at all.
So Archer, lots on Archer's back and lots on the
Yeah.
opener's back.
Archer and Wood.
Archer and Wood. Archer, Wood and Adil Rashid. Those are the 3 who are going to do anything for them if they have to.
But they've got, I think that South African side is very good. My gut feel is that England will play better against South Africa and Australia than they would against India. So that might be in their favour.
So what are your predictions going to be for the finals, your 2 teams?
For me, it's India and South Africa.
Which are going all the way up to the final.
All the way up to the final.
Oh, I have no clue at all. I still think that if Pakistan get their act together, they could upset New Zealand if they get the right kind of pitches. And over there, I'm still think I admire a lot of the Australian work ethic. So Australia, South Africa, maybe from there.
Wow.
Then who knows?
So you're saying India, Pakistan, Australia, South Africa.
That's my
Those are
gut
your
feel.
4.
I'm uncertain about Pakistan, but I still think that they've got the ability to turn it on in certain conditions. But yeah, and South Africa and Australia.
I would like Pakistan to do well because, that country needs a boost. It needs something, an emotional up. So I'd like, and world cricket will be richer for Pakistan doing well. But I also like Harsha. I'm not too sure of them. I think they could be in trouble against New Zealand as well.
Well, we will find out all about the Champions Trophy. We'll be there on the 19th of Feb at 2 p.m. But we need to do our important things now at Cricbuzz Live. Joyda,
Yeah,
all
your
yours.
question.
We did
Yeah.
not at all discuss the question in the green room.
Yeah, so it's something that you can take a look at. I mean, Desmond Haynes. What did Desmond Haynes do?
He scored a lot of hundreds and he batted through the innings
And he scored 100 in his
first game.
and got 140 odd.
Yeah.
But who's got even more than that in his debut?
Britska.
Absolutely.
Britska was not in the side and who got
Yeah.
another 80
You
today.
really knew
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
You're in some form coming in.
No. When he said
Yes.
who got, I
Yes.
suddenly remembered the
He just
150.
got 150 on debut.
he got
we
on
have to
debut the
applaud
other
for
day.
that.
Matthew
Very
Britska,
rarely
well done, Joy.
People get answers to you in the studio, so we have to applaud for
No, but he led me on. He
But
was
that's
saying
okay.
like,
We're okay
what is
with-
in this
that's
spoon?
okay.
There's cooked. It's cooked. It's about white.
No, that's okay.
That's okay. You still got it. But besides
Britska.
Harsha, let's have a look at who's gotten the answer correct.
Just Shaurya Pandey. Okay, well done.
Another of your names?
New names, your name?
How many names do you enter answers
No, I'm
with?
just thinking, is he born on Christmas Day? Because it's
Oh, you're
Shaurya
looking at the
2512.
2512.
Yeah. So,
Shaurya, please write in and tell Joyda if you're born on Christmas, you will get a gift from him this Christmas if you are.
I love it that you're promising. I think you should join politics. You're already starting to promise things on other people's behalf.
Yeah.
I think you should join politics.
But then I
immediately.
won't fulfill them.
Yeah, true.
That also.
But as right now, you're good as an anchor. Your ordering is top notch. It's up there with Gaurav.
Did you tell him that there'll be 28% GST on that?
Well, we'll see what the gift you get. Please share it with us. I'm going to keep rubbing it in all through the Champions Trophy. And all through the Champions Trophy, we will have this laughter. We will have lots more exciting stuff because we've got a power-packed panel with us. And there's going to be lots of good food and lots of great cricket. That's what we're looking forward to. Harsha, please don't leave us for so long. You go away
I
and
come
forget
back.
us.
I go to Dubai and I come back. I'm not as young as Dinesh Karthik to be flying through the night and working and flying back through the night. You know what he did in South Africa? Only DK can do this.
I know
DK
he
went
kept
to play-
very well.
DK went to play for Pal Royals. I messaged him. I said, look, you guys have played so well. You've got to play 2 more matches now. He plays 2 more matches. They lose in the last eliminator. What does he do? He's in the commentary box the next day.
Oh, wow. So typical.
And now he'll come here and sit in the Cricbuzz box.
No, but I've missed DK. I'm looking forward to having DK back. Looking forward to having everyone back. We'll keep that as a surprise, I think. And
Yes.
let's see who else comes. Joyda, you will be
I will be here for a while.
with
for a
us
few
also.
days.
He's got other problems though. He's got to figure out what gift he's got to give now.
That I mean.
Christmas is far away. Don't worry. Christmas is far away. You can ask him a few more Joy Bhattacharya questions and give him the trick of how you ask these questions. It can be as simple as that.
Joy will give some question from 1877 or something.
Which is a good year. It's
Yeah,
started that
1877 is
year.
a good year. So yeah.
All right. So I'll be seeing you all very soon. Thank you so much for today.
So you head back to your other role.
I head back tomorrow to Hyderabad.
Do you suddenly feel when you go back there that you spend time
Your
with
muscles.
two puny people there, and then there's Sunny Deol. Oh, it's a good film. It will be.
We'll leave that for another day. Whenever it releases, we'll do the plugins then. For that, we'll leave another day. But I am hungry because I have been left hungry, and it's been a great series. I'm really happy that I've gotten to come back to Cricbuzz, and I will be coming back with lots of exciting people on the 19th of Feb at 2 p.m. So don't forget to join us there. Thank you so much for watching. Good night and goodbye.